Greetings and welcome to another edition of AUHSD Future Talks. I'm your host, Michael Matsuda, Superintendent of the Anaheim Union High School District. And as our 7,000 plus podcasters know, that this show is dedicated to the future of education, the future of jobs, the future of our community in Greater Anaheim. And we've been so lucky to have amazing people, from amazing students and teachers to college presidents. And our current guest is a chancellor, the new chancellor of the North Orange County Community College District, Dr. Byron Clift Breland. Dr. Breland, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Michael. It's my pleasure to be here, and certainly an honor to be working alongside you and other great committed educators in Orange County.
Yes, and as sort of someone, well, you're kind of new and you're old and you're new to Orange County, but tell us a little bit about your journey, because, you are a chancellor from San Jose Evergreen Community College. And for our listeners, that's the Silicon Valley. So a very high-end area. And you are really, when I first met you, I was really blown away because you're relatively young to be a chancellor. And this is like what your third chancellor gig already. And that says a lot about your leadership and your innovation and your record of getting amazing things done in a very short time. So tell us a little bit about your life, Byron.
Yeah, thank you so much, and I appreciate that acknowledgement. I've been very fortunate and blessed to have come across people who shared the same vision. We've been able to do some great work together throughout my career. And you mentioned I'm kind of old but new. I think that's a great way to describe it. I spent my life, most of my life actually, growing up on the East Coast. I came out to California mid-90s to open up a residential college of a strong background in working with students and student life, working in areas of student support, student housing, disability support services, academic support services. And, I originally trained as a psychologist. So that is my background. My PhD is in psychology, counseling psychology. I started off working in the 4-year system, actually over at the UC Irvine a number of years ago. And then I discovered what a career meant or could be in community colleges, California community colleges to be specific. Was fortunate to get a position as an associate dean at Santa Ana College as my first position in community colleges. They're working, to serve that community. Learned a lot about immigration, the importance of education, the importance of involving the entire community in educating our children, as well as getting them ready for jobs, which is what they wanted. They wanted social mobility, a better life, and looking at students who traditionally come from underrepresented communities. This is the area I wanted to commit my life to serving in my profession. I had no idea, that I could even go into community college, as I mentioned before, and think about becoming a college president and, as you mentioned, a chancellor in Silicon Valley. And I got additional opportunities to work to develop the Long Beach College Promise with that team some years ago, which has gone on to become a national model. So I'm proud of anything that I lent to the development of that back early on in my career. And then got an opportunity to move to San Jose, where I served as president for 5 years and then as chancellor for about 4 years before then coming back to Orange County in my current role as chancellor. And I think the other piece to mention about the old but new theme that you mentioned is that I do feel a sense of renewal, and that as we've emerged from this pandemic, and many will say we've not emerged, But as we start to see what education looks like and needs to be in order to help people get through these very tough times, we saw a very clear divide over the last 2 years of the haves and the have-not. We had one portion of society moving very sharply in one direction and another portion moving very sharply in the other, creating a tremendous divide and, of course, setting us up for what needs to be a committed, intentional approach to how we educate communities, how we retrain the workforce, how we build sustainable training mechanisms throughout the ecosystem that involves better professional development for our teachers, for our faculty and staff, as we continue to build those bridges throughout the educational pipeline that are going to be supportive of students, all students, in particular those who are from minoritized backgrounds, Latinx, African American, Native American, Indigenous, API, et cetera, student population, who we continue to see disproportionate outcomes and inequitable outcomes in terms of their ability to access higher education, complete higher education, and then to move on into the workforce, where, again, that sense of upward mobility is certainly the goal. And I think we all need to be recommitted to that purpose.
You just put a whole lot on the table there, Byron, and I do want to talk a little bit about dual credit. You were really a pioneer in creating dual credit opportunities for students. AUHSD now leads Orange County with the NOCCCD and the number of dual credit students. Could you remind our audience, what is dual credit and why is that such a game changer for high school students?
Yeah, so thank you for mentioning that. That certainly is, it gives a high school student a chance to be exposed to opportunities for education, to, one, build that sense of confidence that they can do college level work. Two, gives them the opportunity to earn college credit. So as they complete their high school studies, they can take, the sense of the dual credit. They can take a class that applies towards their high school degree, but also earns them college units or degree units toward, being able to apply to their college degree. It saves them time. So when a student graduates from high school, they can actually enter college and be at a sophomore, even a junior level, depending on when they have access to that dual credit offering. And we need to continue to build that out because it, again, saves them time, builds confidence, and really shortens in terms of the cost of attending college, which we all know have increased. And so building that partnership between unified school districts, such as the Anaheim High School District, and community colleges like NOCCCD are critical to continue to provide those pathways of opportunity for students, and in particular focusing on dual enrollment that identifies and is intentional about enrolling students who, again, have not been traditionally attending college, and students from backgrounds where they're the first in their family to go to college. And that involves, again, a complete wraparound of support for those students, a better sense of understanding of how to teach students who have not had that sense of academic self-concept, because we've learned that when they get that, they tend to excel, and they move on. They move on through the educational pipeline with the right kind of support and encouragement. And of course, enter the workforce, which again is the ultimate goal for many of our students, or transfer on for advanced degrees. So dual enrollment is really foundational in terms of what we can do to prepare students from, K through 8 before they even get into high school, and to start to talk about that. And again, when you talk about communities of color and their lack of access to higher education, this is something that we need to focus on. And I believe that working with the parents and other community leaders, whether it means reaching into the churches, the Black church, reaching into the communities where you have students who are attending work or community centers or other areas where you can find them and parents and build that capacity. This is going to be key for how we continue to really just get people out of school and prepared for entering the workforce or transferring into a four-year institution. So again, dual enrollment is critical, and I'm fully committed to continue to partner and see how we can innovate in that area. But sometimes the best innovation is just continuing to push, and then honestly demand from a legislative standpoint and looking at financing and making sure we steer those resources to where they need to go to get more people into that pipeline.
You know, I don't think our audience fully understands the importance of community college and building workforce capacity with our students. And could you kind of explain to them why community college is a major factor in creating these types of workforce pathways, especially in areas like cybersecurity, artificial intelligence, biotechnology? These are three areas that we've built robust pathways with Cypress and Fullerton College. Can you explain why, though, the role of community college in building those pathways?
Yeah, so great question, and I think very important to clarify. For one, I mean, as a community college, we are the best economically speaking, and also from a instructional standpoint, because that's what we focus on, teaching. And for folks to enter the higher education journey. And it's also the point of entry for most students of color. Again, as I mentioned, cheaper in terms of cost, but something people didn't know and usually typically don't know about community college is that, you know, it is a bargain, but also very much aligned with the ability to move quickly to train society, our students, our communities for the jobs of the future, because we can move very quickly. Again, our focus is not on research. So we're able to pivot very quickly and meet the emerging trends in the business sector. As you mentioned, artificial intelligence, programming, cybersecurity, some of the biosciences and health, engineering, sub-engineering areas. Many people don't know that for every engineer, there are multiple pre-engineering positions that develop individuals for engineering jobs. And we are uniquely positioned to be able to do that in the communities that need that training and can use that training. What we've been challenged with over the last couple of years is how we offer it, given the fact there has been a high demand for online education. And again, community colleges are right on the forefront of trying to figure out how to develop online training programs or high flex training programs, where there's some in person and some online, in order to develop those trainings for individuals in the community. And a big part of it is the length of time. And I really want to hit on that, is that, you know, you can train in a program at a community college for, let's say, 12 months. Some programs are 8 months or even 6 months or 2 years, obviously, to get a job with a living wage. That is significantly less time than going into a traditional 4-year degree and paying more money to be able to do as much, and often not having the exact type of hands-on training that you would get in a career technical education program at a community college. Really proud to do that. And a little feedback. We're really proud of our position to be able to do that, and we need to continue to work very closely with business and industry so that we can meet their needs. And I think piece is that we bring business and industry to the table and ask them what are the skill sets that you see that are important over the next 4, 5, 10 years? Because we do know that those skill sets are continuing to change. I think they cycle out every 18 to 24 months. The workforce now is saying that all of their workers need to develop and keep their skills fresh. And so for us, it's about trying to hit the target of where it is today, but also where will it be in, as I mentioned, 3, 5, 10 years out. And sometimes 10 might even be too far out because we've been changing so quickly as far as technology is concerned. And we really want to make sure that our communities keep up with that trend and be a part of that movement.
And I could tell many stories about our kids who are with our partnership with NOCCCD having many more options. We have kids coming out of with a high school diploma and a few cybersecurity courses from Cypress College who are getting jobs at Hulu starting at $65,000, $70,000 with the option of, with our Promise initiative with UCI, of transferring in. I just spoke to a kid that he started at $65,000, now he's making $90,000 with a high school diploma.
Yep,
so,
great.
And you're absolutely right. I mean, it gives many, many more options. It's more nimble, and it reflects the swings in the job opportunities. And with now, and in terms of our audience too, there are parents that listen to this that they're focused on AP, and I don't want to disrespect our AP programs, but AP computer science is not cybersecurity. It's not the artificial intelligence, right? It's not some of the other cutting edge areas that community college dual credit with these professors and instructors straight out of industry can offer. So yes, it ramps up the options for young people. And I think that's really, really powerful as we continue to, because what I see happening, Byron, is school is not just high school. It's almost like a K-16 continuum, right? Definitely K-14 with our partnership. I wanted to quickly make sure that people understood sort of the way the community colleges are sort of organized, because people often ask, what is the difference between a chancellor of NOCCCD and a president of Fullerton and Cypress? Can you quickly explain what that is?
Okay. Yeah, great question. I mean, the way we are set up as a system, we have 116 colleges and 73 districts in the state of California. Each district, either if they're a single college district, has a superintendent president, or if they are a multi-campus district or multi-college district, there's a chancellor. And so the way that we're divided at NOCCCD, we have 3 campuses, as you know, North Orange Continuing Education, Fullerton College, and Cypress College. And we have a district office that sort of manages the services across that broad area. And so we all work together to meet the needs of the community. And the chancellor role is one that sort of organizes, is responsible for, managing many of the, personnel, budget and business items across district services, even though the colleges do have their own budgets, of course. And many of the legal matters come to the chancellor's office. And so, I've had experience, at every level throughout the system. And, again, to be fortunate to be in the chancellor role, to put that experience to use to best serve the community and to continue to learn and grow with the community.
So I just want to make it clear for our audience, Byron, that because you're such a servant leader, but you're the boss. I mean, just so our audience knows, the chancellor's office oversees, right, in terms of governance, the college presidents, and of course you serve the board of trustees.
Exactly.
And it's very similar to the superintendent's role with the principals, and my job is I report to a board of trustees as well. So just so our audience knows that you're the big cheese, Byron.
Exactly, but you hit on the other part too. I was getting to is that we have a 7-member elected board representing the different areas that comprise our district, our service area of North Orange County, and I report to them, and then the way it's laid out is that the president then report to me along with other additional district office staff, vice chancellors, et cetera, to me. And so it's it's a complex system, but we all work together, and with our community partners, we continue to evolve and try to figure out what we need to do next, especially again coming out of the pandemic, as you mentioned before. It's a very different type of work now than it was a couple of years ago, and we need to continue to evolve and innovate.
It is. So, the governor has put out quite a budget, right, with the surplus that the state has. But the budget does have certain expectations and focusing on sort of the underprivileged and some of the underperforming groups, and kind of wrapping up transfer expectations as well. Could you, in the 1 or 2 minutes that we do have left, could you talk a little bit about how that sort of is going to support your goals moving forward?
Yeah. So, well, we're fortunate. It's an interesting economy right now, as everyone knows. In high rates of inflation, approaching a recession, housing market, prices are going through the roof, energy costs, gas, and all of these are impacting our community. But in that backdrop, we have quite a robust budget that's moving forward. And within that budget, we have opportunities to expand financial aid to students, which is one of the key things that we have to do as far as access is concerned, and addressing not just the tuition and fees, but that total cost of education, living costs, books, transportation, housing, food, et cetera, that many of our students struggle with. And are often barriers to entry or barriers to completion. So we're very grateful for that. And we also know that in the governor's budget, there are additional funds that support career preparation, transfer, and focusing on, closing equity gaps. Our California community college system is well aware that there are those who are from communities that don't have a way to get to college. And I firmly believe, and as well as many others, that, the great equalizer is education and training. And if you can't get access to that, the future is a little gloomy. And so we want to continue to encourage folks to learn, access higher education, and do all that we can to encourage and build that sense of confidence and that educational self-concept or academic self-concept, and continue to work with the community. And so I think this budget gives us that leeway. And we also have in the California community college system the Vision for Success that was set up through the chancellor's office to support increased transfer rates, to support better persistence and retention, particularly among those, as I mentioned before, who have not done as well. And I think overall the focus on looking at data and making sure we are telling the truth about how good we're doing, revisiting that, and then being really unapologetic about how we approach closing those equity gaps, and being willing to do things that are innovative and put these dollars to work that are going to try things that we know have been successful in the past, or able to scale things up. And what I do worry about the budget is that in a couple of years, as we move forward with all those other macroeconomic indicators, it may shrink a little bit. And we've also seen our enrollment of our students go down a bit due to the high cost of living and people leaving the state of California or choosing not to go into education. We have a huge decline that we're anticipating out of K through 12. In terms of the access to students, the number is declining as far as folks who will be going to college. As you know, enrollment has been dipping in K through 12, and I'm not sure how it's doing there in Anaheim, but we really need to pay attention to opening those opportunities with that anticipation. I know across the system in the California community colleges, we have lost a number of students over the years. We're down about 300,000 students system-wide. below. I think we're about 2,900,000, and we were once at 1,800,000 students, down from 2.1 million just within the last decade. So we're trending in that direction, which tells us that we're going to be short on people to train for those jobs of the future if we don't continue to get them in the pipeline. But this budget gives us the opportunity to build off of things and to continue to work, but we have to do things that are sustainable fiscally, anticipating that we are going to have those cycles of ups and downs in the budget.
Well, this has been a very, very robust, interesting conversation, Chancellor, and we're so, as the largest feeder district into the North Orange County Community College District, we're so grateful to have you as a leader and as an innovator. And I know that the challenges that are ahead are difficult, but in partnership with you, I feel that on behalf of our 29,000 students and their families, that we have a bright future together. So thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, thank you. It's been a pleasure to speak with you, and I certainly look forward to what we can continue to work on together and build to continue to offer these great opportunities for the folks in the community. And again, I look forward to being a great partner to Anaheim Unified School District and to you and your team.